But the thing I really liked about it was there was a woman named Kathy who was really reluctant to get into that rotation because she didn't want to be Sister One. But I don't remember if she was behind me or what, but I felt like I was kind of nurturing her along, and it was a really cool way to do things.
And one of the other things about Herland that I think is really important, and kind of fits in this sort of talking about the collective consensus model, is that in terms of the women who are involved, we are all very different. We come from very different backgrounds. Some of us are highly educated people. Some of us know little education. You don't qualify as little educated. maybe less formal education.
Less formal education. Right. We had some who very little education, very little knowledge of the world at all.
Right.
Working class, people who are really poor. I mean, and
one coming up through the foster system.
Yeah. So lots of differences there in terms of sort of where we come from, particularly around class. We're much less diverse in terms of race, but particularly around class. It was, I think, a really diverse kind of organization where, it didn't matter that I had education and a degree. It didn't matter so much that Jean is an experienced nonprofit administrator who knew what she was doing with budgets and all of that stuff. It was helpful, but it wasn't like Kathy. Kathy, you can't be treasurer because you don't know anything about books. Well, no, we're going to help you learn what you need to know, kind of thing. And so, I mean, for me, it was a really different experience.
Sister 4 actually was begun to be assistant treasurer, because treasurer is the hardest, and it's the most work, and it's the one that some people just were afraid of most.
Yeah, I remember that now.
Yeah. Assistant treasurer, secretary, agenda maker.
So what are some challenges then of the idea or putting it in practice, collective consensus?
Especially if you have 13 to 15 different background women coming with all kinds of ideas. But the special thing about it was that everyone expressed those ideas or concerns, whether it was minor or major or kind of out in the universe or just very practical. And that surprised me when I witnessed it or watched it before I became involved. I thought it was probably terrorizing for the board members, but as I just observed, it was spectacular. I liked it. It was exciting. And there were arguments and, this person said that and this, and one got loud and one, just shaking their head, and all this kind of animation was just really exciting to me.
Yes, to me too.
Let's let Peggy.
Okay.
And believe me, they disappear when they get to be home.
Yeah.
You don't have to keep that. You want to borrow a cat?
I have some.
All right, good.
I first went to a Herland kind of beginning meeting. I think it was October of 1982.
Wow.
And then was not really much a part of it for very personal reasons, and probably 84, maybe 85. And what was the other question?
Define your role within the group.
Now?
Then and now. Yes.
Then and now. I'm a musician, and I'm a, kind of a girl with guitar, and I had great interest in singing for women, and so that was really my biggest role, is the performer. And then I got involved with the board, and I don't necessarily work that well with others sometimes, but I learned a whole lot about working with people by being on the Herland board. And my role now, Herland is really different now. It's something different, and so my role now is more just historical, I guess. I'm not involved very much now. I wave every time I drive by, and I'm still friends with people, and I all for the Herland retreats doing what they do, but I'm not real involved at the present.
That was a big part of our mission. We were talking about all those people who got that information in the newsletter. So, you got somebody sitting out in Eric, Oklahoma, who's getting that kind of information and getting that kind of perspective, and they're sure not seeing it or hearing it anywhere else.
Right.
Well, just to let you know, we're going to be going through all those newsletters, digitizing them so people can access them online, all of them.
Wow.
Yay.
Oh my God.
Right, and then we will have them in the center, so they will be there for everyone to see. So I'm excited about that. I know you probably are as well. So all that work you put into it, lots of people will be exposed to them online as well.
Well, if you have any missing, once you
We
get
do.
the list going, I think around.
If you would let us know.
Yeah, if you let that
Depends on-
out, then we would probably have records, some
Yeah,
of
we
us,
may
even
have
if they
them,
weren't kept at the bookstore.
Right.
And we'll let you know for sure. So we're going to take
Mention of when the AIDS crisis hit, it changed the nature of Herland and the women's movement. And what happened was that the women's movement, of which we were a part, had a foundational base for organization and for raising money and doing all that. And when AIDS hit, the men came to us and we went to them, and it became, our community rallied around the AIDS crisis and helped
Very much
raise
so.
money. And I think if Herland hadn't been organized and in place, it would have been a lot harder and taken a lot longer to make that work. And I've talked to people in other communities that agree with that they went to, like a friend in Las Vegas, they went to Now meetings. The ACT UP guys went to the Now meetings, say, how do we do this?
Really?
And so we really did set aside part of our agenda to become involved in the very real crisis of AIDS and how the government and the community and the country were viewing it so poorly, and to act up and act out.
Simply equal.
Mm-hmm.
And beyond this, what else do you think is the significance of Herland to the greater community? It's a big question.
Yeah. Well, a little story, just a tiny one. So Jean and I ride our recumbent trikes in the Pride Parade every year. Whether Herland is officially there or not, we ride our trikes and we put Herland signs on them. So this year, for some miscommunication somewhere, Herland didn't have an official entry. So we're riding down our trikes with somebody else that let us ride with them, and we get to the viewing stand, where they're the commentators, and the guy who's...
Now, we're an illegal entry.
We're an illegal entry. We're not on his list of people. There's no way we're on his list of people. We're between the Unitarian Church and the Peace House, which is where Herland lives much of its time. But nevertheless. And he says, oh, and there's Herland. And it's pouring down rain too. And, oh, and there's Herland. And they've been
A long-time member of this community, a long-time leader, or whatever he said.
Right.
I could have fallen off my trike. Because they had 3 wheels.
which is hard to do. But
Wow.
so
That, yeah.
I mean, I
That-
think that is sort of in a nutshell, because it's not like Herland has always been like right on the cusp of anybody's thoughts, but it's been there, and it's been a place that was identified as focused on women. You know, regardless of where we sort of were in the political spectrum at any given moment where we were, it's been identified as that.
I'm one of Dr. Churchill's students. I'm Maggie. I'm an intern with the center that Dr. Churchill is.
And one of the other things about Herland that I think is really important, it kind of fits in this sort of talking about the collective consensus model, is that in terms of the women who are involved, we are all very different. We come from very different backgrounds. Some of us are highly educated people. Some of us know little education. You don't qualify as little educated. Maybe less formal education.
Less formal education.
Yes, herding cats would be, that would be pretty right for the situation. People had strong opinions. There were some shyer ones, but they probably all had opinions. As you were saying, that one would tell another in private, oh, I agree with you, and I have that thought. But yes.
Excellent. So we're going to take a technology break. This is excellent on the Excel spreadsheet.
Yeah, because they recognized, just because we had a Herland written on the